Keegan. Hey, it's a pleasure meeting you and speaking to you about your new studio, Inspirado here.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
Hey, absolutely. We always like to speak to filmmakers and the projects that they're actually doing. But tell us the origin story of Studio Inspirado for yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. I love telling this story. Inspirado was born out of the pandemic. So I was born and raised in New Mexico, and I was in southern New Mexico, the borderlands area, and moved up to Albuquerque after film school in 2014, and had been producing my own stuff here and there, little tiny music videos, a couple $100 at a time, and kind of built my way up into some larger commercials and eventually films. But in 2020, we shut down, and I suddenly found myself with not much to do for about 6 months. Luckily for me, in the middle of that, my partner in Inspirado, Richard Farmer, who is a 20 plus year director, just has a wealth of experience at the top levels of commercial production, called me out of nowhere. He had seen me on LinkedIn, and he had just moved to Albuquerque from New York City, and was looking to make some film connections. And I called him back from his LinkedIn message, and this is my favorite part of the story. He was like, "I just made Hot Pocket. I got to call you back." Um, so we chatted after he enjoyed his wonderful Hot Pocket, and he asked me to lunch the next day, and we talked and realized we were kind of like this. We had the same mindset about film and commercials and what they can do, and really uplifting New Mexico as an area and the creative folks here. And we decided to start a company. And he had the brilliant idea of calling it Inspirado, which is a bit of Spanglish and a little nod to where we're from. And from there, we just, with no money, no upfront investment, we just went gangbusters and started booking clients, and have built it into something we're quite proud of.
Now,
So
little bit.
the pandemic kind of led us here.
I mean, that is some brave thing to do. To start a business during the pandemic, especially the fact that most film productions were shut down during the pandemic.
Yeah, they sure were. And it was a scary time for us. We didn't know when we were coming back, but it started to become clear that during the pandemic, creative content was more important than ever. It's what allowed people to escape. It's what allowed us to sit at home without going crazy. And we knew the demand would be there. So we were patient, and it was scary and risky. But we moved forward and took the risk, and it paid off.
Now, you mentioned that you were always a local. Did you also go to a local schooling there in New Mexico?
I sure did. I went to New Mexico State University, which had a wonderful film program that really started a few years or a few years before I entered college. So I kind of lucked into this great program where I met so many of the filmmakers I still work with today. It was quite a pleasure, and I love the folks there. And actually, last year, I was asked back to teach business of film. So I did an adjunct professor, taught one class, and that was quite an honor. But yeah, all my schooling has been in New Mexico.
Now, New Mexico, as a state itself, I've been hearing a lot more, productions going on in New Mexico. Why is New Mexico ideal? I mean, there's a lot of film productions. I'm based here in California. We have a lot of film productions, but now it seems like we're exporting it to Vancouver or Georgia and even New Mexico. Why is New Mexico ideal to you?
Well, for so many reasons, and this is one of the things I love. I love proselytizing about New Mexico because it really is a great spot for production. A, because of Breaking Bad and the popularity it brought to New Mexico, we have been able to show people what we have to offer. And what we have to offer is amazing landscape, sunny days. We can double New Mexico for just about anything from Colorado to the Red Rocks of Utah to the farmlands of Idaho. And another very important thing to our industry is we offer one of the most competitive tax credits in the world for film production. You get 25 to 35 cents on the dollar for every qualifying expenditure in New Mexico. So economically, it makes so much sense. And it's a hop, skip, and a jump away from LA. Go to the Burbank airport and you're here in an hour and a half.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. Now, your studio itself, it's based in Albuquerque. What is it currently comprised of?
Yeah, so I'm actually in our office right now, and we are just bursting at the seams. We do not have enough space, so we are moving later this year into a new office building that will have 4 fully functioning post-production bays. It will have a small studio where we can do photos or smaller productions, psych wall space, and it will have a production office space where we can do all the logistics. So it's kind of a miniature version of what Netflix is doing, I would say.
Yeah, Netflix in Los Angeles comprises of several buildings. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. A very miniature version of Netflix.
so what other services does your studio can actually offer to potential filmmakers who are interested in filming in New Mexico?
Well, this is my one of my favorite things to do is to get producers to want to come here, and I do that by helping them with the tax credit and making the process not seem so scary because it's not. And I do that by showing them what you can do on a budget here. Money goes a lot further here. Cost of living is significantly lower than in a major city. And I connect them with the best crews. I think some of the best crews in the country because of shows like Breaking Bad and Avengers. We really have top-notch crew. So connecting is what we do. Production services is what we officially call it. But really, it's all about introducing people to the right people.
Do you find yourself in the position of basically servicing a lot of filmmakers from out of state, or you also want to focus on filmmakers within the state?
Well, our ethos at Inspirado is to build up the directors, producers, writers in New Mexico. We currently have a roster of 5 local directors that we have been able to get work for consistently throughout this year, and also develop their feature film projects as well. So I did a film last year called Little Brother, starring Daniel Diemer, Philip Ettinger, and J.K. Simmons. And that was written and directed by a New Mexican, actually a buddy of mine from film school. And that was just a shiny example of what talent we have to offer. And, in a country where the Hispanic Latinx population is upwards of 20-25%, but the stories that are told on screen with Latinx lead characters is only 5%. I think there's a huge gap, and that's a huge opportunity for New Mexicans to tell their story and to spread our culture.
It sounds like you're telling me that there is plenty of top talent in New Mexico over there, that we don't have to look very far.
I think so. I think, we've proven in New Mexico that we are a great state for production. What I want to prove is that we're a great state for development, for financing, and for post-production. That's what I want to continue to grow. And the film we did last year was actually financed in large part by private equity from New Mexicans.
Wow. And currently, how many projects is your studio actually working on today? You don't have to go to the specifics. I know like how things.
Yeah, too many. It's been a nuts few weeks. We're in some stage or another on 6 commercials and 2 feature films right now.
Wow, most excellent, most excellent. And so, if potential filmmakers want to do production in New Mexico, obviously they should contact you. How do they do so?
Yeah, the best way would be to go to inspirado.tv. That's INSPRPIRADO.tv. There's contact info on the page and a little more about us. And just so everyone out there knows, like I I love giving advice to get people here. Even if you decide to come here and you don't work with us, like I'm still a resource for you, as is everyone in our studio. So please come our way, come to New Mexico.
Wow, that sounds great. They should all ask for Keagan. That is for sure.
Yeah, yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Most excellent. Well, this is a great conversation. You want to add anything else, Keegan, before we, end all this?
Well, I just want to add that I think we're going to see I think we're going to see Albuquerque become something like the next Austin, where you had amazing filmmakers like Robert Rodriguez come out of there. And look, we're aware that you're never going to take the industry out of LA, and we don't want to. I love LA. It's like one of my favorite cities in the world. But there are plenty of reasons and productions where the specifics of a state like this can serve you well. So for all the commercial producers out there, for all the production companies and ad agencies, let us bid your commercials. Let New Mexico have a bid, and then you can see how the numbers add up.
Wow, that sounds great, and I can't wait for you guys to prosper and watch those festivals prosper too over there, and makes people like me have to travel even more out of Burbank.
Yeah, yeah, man. Yeah, don't go out of LAX. It's never worth it. You might save $20 on the flight, but you'll hate yourself. I've done it too many times.
That is terrific. Well, Keegan, hey, thank you very much for speaking with us. I'm certain we'll talk once again, especially after you move into your new office and expand, and we'll do this again.
Yeah, I hope so. And look out for Little Brother. It's the feature film. It's gonna premiere next year, so I will keep you posted on that gig.
Terrific, terrific. We'll talk again. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thanks much. Thank you, guys.